Yeah, we on.
Oh shit, we ain't even set the.
Oh shit, my bad.
They know how it goes.
What's up, y'all? Yo, what's the most creative way? We just trying to figure out how we were supposed to have it. We were supposed to have this figured out. Wait, but that's all right though. We stumbled into this success. Bear with us.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so what's the?
Gotta get on Facebook.
Huh?
Gotta get on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was supposed to do today, man. I kept thinking, what the fuck?
I had more time in that training class. I did. That's when I've been doing real work. I'm like, I'm supposed to be chilling.
Yo, I gotta figure out a slick ass way to put this, Jamal. You see something here?
With that thing at you had the little clip.
That joint.
You gotta wipe the screen off.
Oh no, I'm gonna turn the phone around. I think that's just the. I don't mean to move your megahertz around, Ken. How's that? Is that cool?
That should work.
That's cool.
Somebody.
But then it is kind of slanted. Huh? Hey, we talking about all this. Oh, man, yo. No. Hey, this is who we are, all right? We don't have everything put together, all right? So listen, I'm sorry if you can relate to that. Perfect. If you look at some dudes, that's perfect. Yeah, we ain't for you. All right, so listen. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this.
Yeah, wipe the screen off.
I'm gonna turn it around.
The camera?
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn
the phone around. Yeah. Yo, because that ain't working. It just get even more blurry. Oh no, that's cool. All right, so we going live now. Yo, what's up, y'all? Let me get out y'all face in a minute. I'm just trying to set things up for them. Yeah, Jamal, you got the. We all gonna have to scooch in, man.
Shit. Well, I always get cut off, so it's fine.
Look.
Somebody gotta get sacrificed.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. Back. I think everybody in there. Oh, Jamal, you ain't in there? There you go, Jamal. All right, so basically, right. And listen, I understand that the Instagram is a little tilted. Working with what we got. So if you go to YouTube and tune in there, I'm telling you, True Kings 410. The videos look way better. So all right, just getting that out there. But our original and I guess all of us can. Matter of fact, I'm not bad, man.
Oh, you got it.
Introduce yourself, man.
What's up? I'm Marquise. Go by Keith the Vandal on social media. That's about it.
Oh, okay. No, and I guess we're in the middle of a conversation, and I just felt like it was getting too good, but I guess we can tie it back into what we were going to talk about, which was passive income. Yeah. But I think we trying to iron out some things. What's up, y'all? We trying to iron out some things before we get to the passive income, because in order for us to think in those terms, we gotta kind of have to kill off some of the old us. Yeah. In order to be able to grow into the new us, whoever we're going to be. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. And I guess we were in the middle of you was just asking a question about.
So yeah, just talking about like fighting your vices, and just fighting temptations in life of things that tempt you that you're not supposed to be doing, whether it's eating right, whether it's spending money, drinking, smoking, whatever it is, whatever your bad habit is, and the battle that you go through with yourself to, one, recognize that you have an issue or a problem that you have to deal with, and two, actually attacking and dealing with that problem. And I was just talking to my brother about, small battles and fighting yourself and actually winning, and the feeling that you get from that. You know what I mean? Like, just driving home the other day, I was able to bypass every fast food spot on the way. And it's about 7 or 8 on my way home, just, within a 1 mile radius. Ooh. So, and that just goes to another conversation about eating healthy and how readily available unhealthy food is. You know what I mean? To pass a McDonald's, Little Caesars, Burger King, KFC, Popeyes, all before I hit 3 miles, 2 miles away from my house. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? There's no Whole Foods in sight. There's no Mom's Organic Market. None of that stuff is in sight. But, you know, just being able to drive past all of that stuff and tell myself, you know what? That's not right now. You know what I mean? Not today. At least just take that first step. It actually felt good, man. It felt good to be able to go past that. And I may have gone the next day, but that it helped, man.
But you know what? Just to catch y'all up, because again, this conversation, we're in the middle of it. And definitely, please, again, go to YouTube for a better video. It's definitely on stream. Bear with us, man. We sorry about this, but we're in the middle of a conversation, so you kind of caught us dead shot in the middle of it. And what he's explaining is introducing, you know, in order to think in terms of passive income, we have to iron out our negative ways. So for some of us, it's eating. All of it's going to be about your choices. All of it is going to be about, you know, how you're wired. You know what I mean? And, you know, every one of us are going to be broken to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And, you know, once we're broken, we kind of, when we putting ourselves back together, we're introduced to a former us at that point. Because even for you to have been broken, that means you got to another stage.
Right.
You see what I mean? So when you're broken and you're putting yourself back together, do you have the strength to swim upstream? We just talked about that. You know what I mean? Salmon. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, a salmon has to swim. I know a lot of people say salmon, but it's salmon. All right. So a salmon, you know, it's indigenous in him to swim up, in her to swim upstream, to mate, to do whatever. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that's swimming up a river. That's the current is going the other way. Swimming up, you know, harsh conditions like waterfalls and rapids. Just completely going against the current. That's the reason why they say a lot of them die once they lay their eggs. You see what I mean? So that, but all of our temples die once we get to where we're trying to, you know, once we get to a certain, you know, level of life. So, you know, just thinking about that, going against the grain, that's the concept. A lot of us cannot get through our brains. This phase in our life is going to be about unlearning. So we're going to have to be unlearning a lot of the things that we have learned. We're going to have to start killing portions of us, you know, in order for you to be able to think in terms of a passive income, because you're not going to be able to think about passive income if you're going to waste your money at the fast food spot, or if you're going to waste your money on the Jordans, or if you're going to waste your money. And I'm not telling you not to buy the Jordans. I'm saying take care of some other things before you do.
That's actually the money you needed for your rent.
Exactly.
Rental property. So I mean, like when that come up, you gotta have everything in order for it. And mindset gotta be there.
And I think that's where it really started, man. Mindset, because like I think I said it on the toxic relationships episode, but like life is a movie, man. And if you don't know how to act the part that you want, you don't get casted for that part in life. So with that being said, like on a small scale, you know, if you know that you only got $100 to a payday and you want to eat fast food every day and burn that out, how are you gonna get passive income if you burn out your only active income?
Right. You know, thinking in terms of actually getting somewhere, going against the grain. A lot of people don't understand a lot of ways that negativity taps into your everyday decision making. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if all you're looking at is negativity every day, you're subconsciously going to produce into this atmosphere of negativity. You know what I mean? And it's negativity that you don't even realize is negative. Yep. You laughing at it at this point. Yep. We laughing at R. Kelly's pain. Yep. We laughing at the pain he has caused. We laughing at the way he's danced in front of us. We laugh about the way he was used by this system. I mean, because come on, for RCA Records to hold on to him is because they have they known how valuable he was, right? And if we was just talking about these megahertz, this negative music, come on, y'all. We need R. Kelly to brainwash, you know what I mean, a lot of our young kids or exploit the sexual level of thinking that we're supposed to be. It's supposed to be with our significant others, but we're using as an everyday thing. I mean, you see everybody. We've graduated to, seems like you're ready to just all out twerking on the bridge that you come to. You see, man, we graduate to that level. You know what I mean? But the negativity has to be conditioned on us. So that's the reason why it's a cash cow and an R. Kelly. You know what I mean? So it's going to take a lot of going against the grain to understand that, that music might not be the best for me on a day by day basis.
That's definitely true because being as though certain music I feel like speaks to my generation, but at the same time it's like, whoa, that's not really the best thing to surround yourself. Like it's like how can I put it? It's kind of like, wow, I don't even know how to put it besides you gotta kill yourself, basically.
You do. You have to unlearn.
Transition. Right, like a snake shedding its skin, and you're forming a new person all the time. Like I talk to a buddy of mine all the time. Like I say, he told me this a couple of years ago. Like we turn into new people every 2 years. Every year, something like that. Some people may do that more often, but we're constantly changing into different people. We're constantly, like you said, shedding the old us, or shedding the negative us, or shedding things that we don't like about ourselves to completely form a new. And hopefully one day perfect, or as close to perfect, as nobody's perfect, but as close to perfect as we can be.
It's crazy because when I said I didn't know how to compare with it, I just thought about something like everybody knows a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. What we don't know is if that process is painful for that caterpillar to turn into a butterfly. Now, we don't know what that feels like. We just see the beautiful outcome of it. We don't know what that caterpillar is feeling when it's breaking out of that cocoon for the first time.
You got to think about how the caterpillar is actually built. Like, to become a butterfly, had to lose so many parts.
Yeah.
Like, things that may have been important on.
Yeah.
In order for the shell, the cocoon, to be cracked, it has to be a painful process because there is distinct. It's a wound, right? You can see something is cracking through something that was already there to prevent it from something like that happening. So in order to break it, it has to be, it's a hurtful feeling, but once you complete the process, you come into something crazy. But the thing is, can we make it through the process? And how long is it going to take for you to get through your process? All right. Now, I don't want to be an expert on this because I ain't through mine. And I don't know how, to tell you to get through yours. I just want you to know you're in one.
Yeah.
Because if you know you're in the process, you're going to start to think about how you make it through your process differently. You're going to understand the power in your choice. You're going to understand that if you take that win that you just spoke about, and that you feel good about that win, then how can you apply that on the next day, on the next choice? You know what I mean? And your series of choices, if they become positive ones, if they become choices that get you to another place or get you into another dimension or get you past a negative that you once had about yourself or just found out about yourself. You know what I mean? To conquer those things, it hurts at first.
Yeah.
It hurts at first to tell yourself, no, I'm not about to stop at this McDonald's, even though you want that goddamn burger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
That's
once
it with anybody.
Exactly. With anything that you go through, it's going to hurt. Man, you got to die. You're killing off certain parts of yourself, man, certain things that you love, certain things that you thought were right. I mean, it's a humbling feeling to think that the way that you once looked at life was take our mothers, for example. The children, I feel sorry for the children nowadays, man, because they growing up seeing their mothers twerk in a screen.
Yeah.
They will have to unlearn that.
Yeah.
That's going to be something.
They will.
So they will.
That's normalized. That's what's normalized. So it's like they growing up with that. That's what they expect their girlfriend to do eventually. So they're looking at girls in school like, why are you not twerking? Like, and then the girl that's not twerking,
She's
looked at as
supposed
a
to be.
prude, like she not what she's supposed to be, but she's the one that they should be inspired to be.
Exactly.
2019, new levels bring new devils. There's different ways that type of negativity is being negative is definitely being strategic. And I'm gonna tell you, like, you're gonna have to everybody in the world thought that their mother was right about everything.
Yeah.
And still, you see what I mean?
Mama said,
Nobody's mother was wrong. Nobody's mom was wrong. You see what I'm saying? So, and we all know nobody's perfect. It's like an oxymoron. You know nobody's perfect, but your mother never wrong. You see what I mean? So you have to unlearn a lot of what, we have picked up through our transitions. And to unlearn something, to tell your heart, like, for example, let's make it literal here. For a person that might be struggling in a relationship, the person's not right for you. How do you tell your heart that you're wrong?
Right.
It feels too right for it to be wrong.
Right.
You got to swim upstream. You got to become a salmon.
Yeah.
You got to go against the grain, go against the current. You got to kill off what you fell in love with.
Yeah.
So you literally got to reach inside your heart and peel it off to develop a new heart.
Yeah.
To develop a heart for something else.
Yeah.
While simultaneously, because we hold on to that lesson, we contributed to a lesson, but while we're in the midst of that transition, all we feel is the pain, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You see what I mean? And for some, it takes longer than the other to leave something that you love dearly.
Yeah.
Especially if that person, and let's say, for a female, for example, I'm just using this for example, just to give a literal sense. Let's say it's a female who's had trauma all her life. In order for her to leave the dude she with, she literally has to go back into her past, realize that the way it was lived was wrong and in error, analyze it, heal from it, fast forward to her current situation, and apply all of the lessons she went back to learn to her current situation, which takes a lot of energy to do. That's the reason why it takes some of us longer than others to do. You know where you got to go? Some of us got to go 40 years back. You feel me? Some people got to go 13 years back. You see what I mean? But until you heal the old you, I guarantee you're not going to grow into the new you. So if you can't even admit that a lot of the things that you're feeling, the Jordans you bought, you call it a passion, but it's not a passion.
You got spending money.
You got to unlearn that. You see what I mean?
I'm glad you said that though, because that could tie into somewhat of a passive income. If you're selling them to resell them, then it could be that. If you're selling
business
them to
out
just
of it?
get them, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You're selling them
Buying and
to
reselling.
just wear them. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You become any retailer at that point, though.
Absolutely.
Any level of commercial retail at that point. You see what I mean? That's a business. That's not the same as calling it that's not the same as. Now, I'm not telling you not to spend your money. And if you can turn your passion into a business, you won.
I think it's all about the reason why. Like some people might be saying, for example, we work with, for a fact, we work with a lot of people that were sneakerheads or whatever. But in reality, they was high school kids. They just wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
And they thought that having the latest shoes would validate who they were in society. And then when you look back 5 years from now, none of those shoes mean anything. It was all a waste of money. And they weren't trying to resell things, but they tried to justify it by saying they were passionate. They tried to use what I call fear disguised as practicality. They try to make it seem like it was something that wasn't to fool people, but only end up fooling themselves because nobody around really cared as much as they thought we did.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're looking at it as an investment, but at the same time, it's like you didn't put thousands of dollars into this. You're not planning on selling them.
Exactly.
You never had no intention of selling these.
Exactly.
So it's like you just get.
Or can you even afford to have the passion? That's my thing. Like you're calling this a passion, and you can't even afford to have it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So.
Like shopping is your passion. Like that don't make sense. Like
right.
You can't have a passion. Like
you're virtually. This is what you're doing, man. You're virtually doing something to cause a gap in between reality and what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two different things. And if you find yourself in an area where you love doing what you're doing, in those moments, let's be honest. In those moments, you are not growing.
Right.
You are not. You're literally comfortable with what you're doing.
Right.
That's not learning. You feel me? And if you find yourself a shopaholic, or if you find yourself still attached to that one dude you can't really get away from, you know what I mean? Or if you find yourself constantly experiencing negative activity, you are subconsciously producing the activity.
And it's so hard to accept the fact that you are the
problem.
Exactly. Like everything. The way I look at it, I've been thinking lately, I feel like everybody in your life is a reflection of you in some shape or form. It's all a reflection of a facet of your own personality or your overall being. And so you got to really audit who's around you and what did they exhibit that you either do like about them or that you don't like. And that means something you got to change about yourself, because when you change that within yourself, they'll no longer fit into your overall picture. So whether you got, like you said, a guy or girl you can't get over, but they're no good for you, or you got a friend that always putting you down, but you feel like you still want to show them love because y'all been friends for so long, you got to ask yourself, what do I need to change in order to get to where I'm going? Because clearly I can't hold on to the grass and grab the stars at the same time. It's not going to work. So something got to go.
Right.
And that's what people got to figure out. You got to figure out what you're going to sacrifice to get to where you're trying to go.
You're going to have to kill some of the things that you hate. You're going to have to hate what you love, and you're going to have to love what you hate.
Yeah.
You're going to have to experience some. You love to go shopping. You love that let's do it. You love that no good dude. You love the drug. You see what I mean? But is it good for you?
And you know,
because real quick, the love of the money.
Right.
You love what it can buy for you.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you fall out of love with the money, I guarantee you it'd be easy for you to throw it on an asset.
Yep.
I guarantee you, because if you are no longer in love with money, money can't move you in that manner no more. If for alcoholic, if I can set a certain amount of liquor in front of you and you not be moved by it at all, you good.
Yep.
That's that power I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, sitting in the room full of your vices and being able to say, okay, well, I'm good.
I'm in control now.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a quote at my brokerage they always got on the wall. It says success is repetitious boredom. And so like that's like, you know, me and you, we 23. So that's like somebody that we know hit us on a Friday night, like, yo, what you doing? And we say, I'm in here reading a book about stocks and bonds. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear it. They're like, yo, what? That's boring. You know what you on a Friday night, you can do on a Tuesday morning. But at the end of the day, like you said, you gotta hate what you love and love what you hate. So yes, it is boring. I'm not about to say like I thoroughly enjoy learning about the stock market. But
we are not doing nothing special. Like, God, it's not like God gave us some sort of passion to do this. Like, no, it ain't that. We just feel like we gotta do it because we don't want to. And where I've been is damn sure where I ain't going.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in order to get what I want and to get what I never had, I got to do some things that I ain't never did before because the old formulas don't work on this dimension.
Exactly.
You feel me? So with that being stated, let's talk about the guy who's conditioned with a level of negative.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about you becomes negative.
Mm-hmm.
Your quote unquote low blow comments that comes off as passive aggressive hating.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't mean to do it. It's just who you are.
Yep.
Or that meme that you found hilariously funny.
Yep.
You don't see nothing wrong with laughing at it. You see what I mean? Yep. And you'll repost it.
Or
spreading it further.
Or the food that you eating because fucking we all gonna die one day anyway. Yeah. Or the women you dealing with because you ain't trying to fall in love and you just want to get one off for the night, whatever. Yeah. Or you know the places you going because you just try and get lit and quote unquote make memories when in reality, when it's all said and done, all you will have is memories. You ain't gonna have nobody around you when it's all said and done. You're gonna be lonely. And you're going to be in a house by yourself dying because you tried to, you know, justify all the shit that you're doing wrong that you know deep down is wrong. You tried to justify it and life passed you by and now you're stuck.
Don't stop there, though. Keep going.
I mean, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the guy who says that money don't buy you happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that like that's a direct contradiction, right?
Exactly.
If you can make money work for you, it can buy you happiness.
Yeah.
You feel me? It just ain't controlling you at that point.
You ain't gonna get happy when you get $100. So,
yeah, exactly.
You see what I mean? Right. As long as that dollar don't control who you are, it can definitely purchase a level of peace for you. Yeah. You can make the money move for you.
Yeah.
You can definitely get into the passive income if you can get over some of it because the negative that you produce. What's another one, yo? Like I can't take it with me. Yeah. I might as well spend it.
Yeah. Or a very toxic one that Or a very toxic one that I'm even trying to away from right now is they not on what I'm on. Fuck them. You know that's one of the
pushing everybody.
That's one of the biggest things because for me I had to think about, okay, you know, yes, my friends that I grew up with aren't on what I'm on. but they still good friends of mine. You know, I look at like certain people I was once cool with that, you know, life I had distanced myself from, but I think sometimes like, dang man, you know, I miss hanging out with them. Sometimes I'm not saying I'm about to go back and say, hey, we got kicked every day,
right.
But it's just like, you know, at some point you got to think about, okay, yes, I know what I'm chasing, but at the same time, I know what I value too. Like these relationships are priceless to me, no matter what I obtain in life. And you know, sometimes you gotta love people from a distance, but that don't mean stop loving them. Period.
Right.
That's
I
what
talked to a buddy of mine about that, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to put people in your life for their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody in your life is going to have a purpose.
Yep.
You know, you may have someone you talk to about stocks and bonds.
Right.
You also may have somebody you talk to about basketball.
Right.
You know,
Right.
But everybody's going to fit in your life for a reason. So I think that, you know, continuing to do that, and it's not wrong to put people, and it sounds fucked up, but put people in their place in your life. You know what I'm saying? So if someone has a place in your life, but that's just their place, then fine. You know what I mean? It may not be the place that they once were, but that's just the place that they're in right now. Yeah. But you will always have somebody to fit each place in your life. You know what I mean? So,
and growing up, I always heard people show you how to treat them.
Yeah.
So you gotta give them. You don't necessarily gotta return that energy, but you just gotta put them in that, like you said, in that place. That everybody can't be a stocks and bonds guy. Everybody can't be the let's go make music type of guy. So it's like you gotta just realize what type of person you are.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely like guilty, like you said, like man, niggas ain't I'm over here, I'm doing this. Yeah. Completely shut it out. So,
Like I realize I got no in between. It's either I'm all in with you or I don't want nothing to do with you. So I'm trying to come away from that because that's a bit extreme. And I always think like that, you know, deep down, I mean, they a good person. They might not be good for me, but they still a good person. So if they died tomorrow, I would be crushed because I try to push them away because you ain't going when I want $100 million. Like, nah, wait a minute. You know,
that's not everything in life.
Yeah,
it's definitely doable. I just think in order for us to get to that level, though, in order for us to understand, first of all, we have to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
If everything that you say is normal, you have to know that your normal is not normal to everybody else.
Right.
Your pain is not going to be everybody else's pain.
Right.
You feel me? So your talents, a lot of the things that you learn, a lot of the things that the experiences that you racked up over life, they become your power, which gives you different power than other people, which gives you a different thing to offer this universe. But in order for you to channel all of that into a positive space, you have to admit that, when you say to yourself, I can't take it with me, why does that mean you can't pass it down?
Yeah.
That's selfish. And that's part of the society. It's like overall things to be selfish versus thinking about who comes after you. Because even you eat in certain ways, you doing all that. You got kids that you got to be here for.
Right.
That love you. You got people that. So it's like to have those certain that mentality is all back to selfishness. And I even see it myself, and it's something that like I deal with all the time because my mother gets angry about. Like she's always telling me how I only think about myself, and I do in a lot of ways. Like I cut off friends because it was like I don't like the way you're moving, and I feel like if I'm hanging out with you, I can't do this.
Right.
And it's a bad mentality or mindset to have, but it's like I kind of get back to that whole that's just the way I am.
It's not like a self-preservative kind of
definitely self-preservation is
definitely some of the survival instinct basically. Like definitely.
Yeah.
For us to go straight to that though, in order for you have to acknowledge that that's a negative way to look at that. And that is the direct concept of a glass half full and a glass half empty mindset. Mm-hmm. You can clearly see why or how a guy could say you can't die with it. Mm-hmm. You can't take it with you. And you are true. It is a true statement to a certain extent. That's the reason why the glass is half empty at that point. But what you don't understand, if you were looking at this through a positive light, let me introduce you real quick, King. If you didn't know, you got the kind of power to affect generations hereafter. Meaning, you can touch generations who are not even here yet through your bullshit. So if you choose to leave out of the house, you fucked up a couple of generations. Mm-hmm. You've caused a certain level of trauma for other generations to get over. With your absence, there are now things a man or a boy will have to learn without you, which is going to cause the delay of his son, which is going to cause the delay of his son. You have the power in you right now, King, to positively or negatively affect multiple generations.
Yeah.
That is literally how strong you are. Your actions today can affect people who are not even here yet.
Yep.
I'm still dealing with stuff my grandfather did. So it's like,
Yeah.
who knows what he was dealing
You
with?
see what I mean?
Generation before, and it's powerful to think of it from that perspective because you always think you can leave something for the next generation that's positive, but you never realize the repercussions that
The negative.
Not even thinking about. First of all, if you knew that's the kind of power you had, normally when we know, we go ahead and do better.
Yeah.
Definitely, on that subject, I mean, it's as simple as life insurance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
yo!
unselfish.
This
is
like just get you some damn life insurance, not the stuff you get from your job.
Right.
Come on, get a policy from any one of these other companies, AIG Direct, Liberty Mutual, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
just go out and get some life insurance. That's like I said, that's the most unselfish and easy thing you can do. To leave something for this and leave some assets instead of leaving a bunch of debt. You know what I mean? Because don't think that when you die, your debt is going with you. Because just same way your money not going, your debt is not coming with you. It's not with you either. It's going to your family, your kids. Somebody's going to have to pay that. They're going to be knocking on the door for that. So,
And the negative mindset is going to say, I can't afford that shit. Right?
Talk to somebody. Don't you can't automatically have the answer.
Negative is saying I can't afford
And
that.
that's another thing that I feel like we as a community we got so many misconceptions about things that we think is harder than it is. Like you being a loan officer, I'm sure you realize like, well, I mean, you already purchased a home, but I'm sure like it's a lot of people you come across. It's like, yo, I can't ever get a house. And you like, you don't know how close you really are to getting a house. You know, it's a lot of things. Like even when I'm as a realtor, I talk to people about the programs that they have, they can qualify for, things like that. And like, yo, I don't know, I never thought because of generational things. Like your grandmother never owned her house, your mother never owned her house. All you seen people paying rent, and you think it's so much stuff is impossible. When really all you gotta do is step a little bit outside your comfort zone, and the whole world will like just expand in your mind. Everything changes, and I feel like we gotta. Like you said, talk to somebody for if we just assume that, I can't do that because you can.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing to see is you definitely can. But to correct you, I don't own my home yet. But definitely working towards it. And in addition to that, if you just know you can, won't you put it in? Once you know, let's talk about the Jordan. You know you can't afford them Jordans, yo. But if you say you're going to get them,
they giving out credit cards.
Don't you go get them?
Right.
You figure out a way to get it done.
Right.
You know you can't afford to go out.
Right.
But don't you go out? Come on, man. Let's talk to some of you sisters, man. Because you guys have figured out a way to be at the bar with no money and still get drunk.
I have a headache at work next day.
Come on. So you can. You can't tell me you can't afford the life insurance because you can't afford the Jordans. You can't tell me you can't afford the things that are going to put you ahead, put your family ahead. Because
the Jordans, there's people out here with cable bills is $200, $300, $110.
I'm just trying to put it on the level that
half of that. Like, I mean, come on.
Yo, real.
Definitely affordable.
Or riding around in a car is clearly not gonna. Do you even know what a debt to income ratio is? And I'm not teasing anyone. Have we ventured to find out? You see what I mean? It's not something that I don't want to sound like I'm looking down on anyone or anything like that. Because to be honest with you, if you look at it in that light, that'll be the negative that you're looking through. It'll be you in your moment, your live moment, contributing a thought you just processed in a negative manner. Or you can look at it through a positive manner and understand that there is positivity in you just being introduced to the term, if you haven't heard of it, DTI, debt to income ratio.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? And if you take it that way, you'll go find out what a debt to income ratio is. Or if you take it in a negative way, what are you trying to say? You see what I mean? If you, there is a glass half full in every choice you will make. You can wake up and say to yourself, today will literally be a good day, or today will literally be a bad day.
Yeah.
What you say, you will manifest. The same way you went to the bar and sat at the bar and got drunk with no money.
Even if you don't say it, you just think it. You just wake up thinking that.
It's already done.
Bullshit is coming.
It's already done.
Like I was getting dressed. I'm getting drunk tonight.
Yeah.
No money ain't help out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You put it out in the
You want to talk about power? You think you don't got? Let me talk to my drug addicts for a second here. You think you ain't got no money? You think you broke? You think you ain't no business owner? You think you ain't smart enough? But you wake up every day and don't know how you gonna buy the drug and buy the drug.
Yeah.
You're real live entrepreneurs.
$10 a day, yo. What's 10 times 360 on the calculator right now, King?
36, that's what, 3,600? Yep, 3,600. Yep.
So 10 times 365 days is what?
It's 10 times.
36.50.
36.50. Yep.
You found 36.50 just by waking up.
$3,650.
And thought to yourself, you woke up that morning and said, I don't know how I'm gonna get it,
But you got it.
but I got it. And usually through the process of you getting up, going to trying to figure out how you gonna get the money, you don't really know. That is literally, King. It's already in you, King. It's already in you, pimp. All you gotta know is that it's gonna be something you gotta get done.
And then to come up with stuff like that is backwards because it's like a lot of people say that's just me, but it's like you don't realize that you put years into liking what you like. So it's like you got to put years into unliking years into finding something like an alternative, like in the positive. So it's like you celebrating your diets, your 10-pound loss with like cake and ice cream. You gotta celebrate it with some asparagus and maybe switch it up. Maybe eat some chicken or something. But
And you talking to a king that has not figured that level of life out yet. I don't eat right, man. You know what I'm saying? I try my best to go to the gym, but I know my cholesterol and all of that is messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't figured out how to be strong enough to make that transition.
The first step is acknowledgement.
right.
Exactly.
It's the acknowledgement that you have that issue. And I think that's the beginning stages of us saying, okay, all right, I'm gonna take the first step to change this problem. I'm gonna take the first step to fixing what I don't like about myself.
You can't fix something you can't identify.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the truth.
Right. And through time, it's not gonna you're not gonna wake up in the morning and say, I'm never gonna be negative again.
Right.
Because it's so well ingrained in you that at times I'm being negative and I don't even know that I'm being negative. So I'm not gonna tell you I'm perfect. What I'm telling you is I'm consciously in a day-by-day battle. And I know about the battle now. See, before, I didn't know the battle even existed. I didn't know I was giving in to a certain level of thinking. Yo, can you hit that?
Oh, my bad.
My bad, y'all. But no, I didn't know. At first, I didn't know I was in this level of first of all, I didn't know I was giving in. I didn't know I was giving in to negativity every single day.
Right.
I didn't even know that was the Matrix. I guess that's the easiest way to explain or categorize it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that I woke up subconsciously thinking on a negative, in a negative mindset. Until I acknowledge. Well, first of all, I had to shut my glass had to be broke. You feel me? And once I looked at it, I'm thinking to myself, hey, you start to get up on it. You start to, you really do literally, like, it's like a cocoon that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it's hit, once it's broken, you can clearly see light.
Yeah, and before you got here, me and was having a conversation about this kind of thing. What he said, like, the beauty of this is that they can't take your scars from you, so you can always see and learn from what you went through and figure out how to correct it as you go forward. And I think that's definitely the beauty of it, the fact that once you do realize, it's like, whoa, you never forget it once you do realize it,
And then once you do realize it, you start to put the battles into play that day.
Yep.
Right. That's the power of pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
You start to fight back that day. Once you realize how down bad you was, you start to fight back immediately.
Yeah.
You start to identify.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you'll prevent, but you'll get to a point where I know in my beginning stages, I would do something, think about it, calculate it differently, and then feel bad about it. And then once I felt bad about it, I would be analyzing it in a positive, reflecting back on the negative that just transpired, and then adding that to a bucket of lessons. You see what I mean? But the lessons are getting quicker.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Because at one point, and this was just 2 years ago, my lesson of how hurt I was from my childhood, it took me 15 years to get to, 20 years to get to. You see what I mean? So it's the process is definitely, and I'm not blaming nobody for being in the middle of it. Just don't look at it. Don't look at your glass and continue to chew. You'd be surprised how many people don't realize that sight is literally a choice. If you don't believe me, close your damn eyes right now. Close your eyes right now and then tell me if you can see, man. Sight is literally a choice. And you'll be surprised how many people will realize that what they're doing is negative, but because of what they live in, they play into it. Yeah. We will literally tell our sons not to do the things that we're doing. Clean them dishes when you use them, but we put a dish right in the sink.
Right.
It's like you're weighing the odds. It's like you know the chances of what you're doing wrong is gonna like weigh out to be what it is, but you don't know what's on that other side. You don't know what's the positive really weigh. So when you realize the actual weights, so you start to tip the scale, but you gotta get that measurement first. Like
you do. Yeah. You need the vision. You need to view up. You know what I mean? You have to have something to climb. I mean, some of us who wasn't broken yet, because everybody has to get to a broken point to get to a point where you start growing. You know what I mean? For some, it's later than others, but you have to understand the level of pain that they have been, subjected to. And all of that's going to be different from person to person. That's the reason why we can't look at somebody else's story. Yeah. You're never supposed to look at somebody else's story and judge it to your own. You don't know. Like, you don't know.
That's what I think, Instagram kind of like, has certain people, I guess, in messed up places in their lives because they're seeing all of the good things that people are putting on there, and they're like, "Oh, I want that for my life. Oh, I want that." But you don't understand what that person went through to even put that on. To put that on there, right? Who's actually going through stuff on behind that camera. You know what I mean? So definitely not compare your life to anyone's. At any point in your life. You can have role models, you can aspire to be certain things, but you can never compare your life to anyone else because your path is your path and your path alone.
Yeah, and I believe there's no way to get lost on your path. Yeah, absolutely. Everything you do is for a reason.
You're creating the road as you go.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you end up at a familiar place and maybe you're supposed to be there for right now, and then you're gonna end up going where you're supposed to be at. It's like when you get in a car and it's foggy outside, you don't just not drive. You trust those lights ahead of you to guide the way. And as it goes, you see the road for what it is, and you just like tailor toward what you see in front of you. But you don't just like say, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna just not do this because they was driving over in California where it's sunny at. If I could just get to California, no, you just do your thing."
Right. It's definitely like a snowball as well. It's like you gotta realize that it's step by step, and those little steps that you took are gonna be big steps for you 3 years from now. Yeah, because it's like that snowball is gonna continue to grow. You can't. You looking at the pebble thinking you're never gonna get nothing, but you gotta start rolling.
And so, like to that point, to tie it into like passive income, that's the thing that I found I was struggling with, like as far as delayed gratification. Like I understand completely the fact that if you just put away $100 a month, or you got a few properties bringing you in a certain amount per month. Cool. But like it took me a while to realize that it's never about getting a home run every time, but more so just keeping your bases loaded. So that way, when you hit the singles, all right, home run, hit the single, home run. And I had to really, really understand that and understand the concept of the farmer's mindset that, you plant a seed tonight, it won't be an acorn tomorrow, but one day it will be. You sit under that shade.
And not only that, when you plant the seed, you are the seed. So you're planted, which means you are buried to a certain extent until you see your light, which means it's going to look like a burial.
Exactly.
It's not a burial.
Exactly.
All right, you are not buried. You are covered, and you are being nurtured into whatever it is you're getting ready to grow into. And even the crack, like the crack to see, is going to hurt.
Yep.
To come out of the sea, it's gonna be new life.
Yep.
It's gonna be something. Yeah, it's gonna be something that you need to learn again. You see what I mean? But you will, you like you just stated, you're gonna have roots there that you're not even really gonna even know about. That's the point in knowing who you are. You feel me? Because you gotta have something to take a step back and create a foundation. For some of us, it's faith. Do you recognize who you are within? Type of a thing. You see what I mean?
Exactly. And we were talking earlier. I was telling him about, how I'm planning on leaving my job to do the real estate full time, and that is my version of, I guess, me burying myself and eating dirt, so to speak, because I understand it's not going to be an overnight process. It's going to take a lot of me being in that dirt, being in the mud, and getting rained on, and might have a dog come shit on my head, whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, I know that's only going to build me up to what I'm going to become, and if I stick it out, I'll be fine. But if you pull a plant out before it's done growing, it's going to die. So you got to stick it out and just fight through that process. And I'm fully aware that is going to be probably one of the most painful things I ever go through, but it's going to be worth it when it's all said and done.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? But for a lot of us, for you to look at the situation like that, you could either keep going forward or you can hide in the darkness.
Right.
You see what I mean? You can definitely go back into your cave.
Right.
Or you can keep going in the light. You see what I mean? And the more light you hit, the more you're going to find some things wrong with you, because the more light that shined on you is more of you revealed, which is you're fleshly. So you're not perfect. So you're always going to find something wrong that you need to fix. And it's something about constantly being in the light, because you constantly feel like you are dying, which means you are constantly uncomfortable, which brings about the concept, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? So it's a beast. It's a beast. The beat down is serious. It is not for the faint of heart, man. And but if you, man, I got it. Like I told you and Matt, yo, I salute the dudes making this climb, man, because it is not easy to do.
I think that's why a lot of people choose not to, to just not look into that mirror and continue with what's comfortable, and that doesn't. If you plan on going somewhere, if you plan on doing things, comfortable is not usually on that road.
It's not. You know what I mean?
Making real changes and and doing things with your life. So
it's
like
not.
You said, just getting comfortable with that uncomfortability is one of the first steps to changing and growing.
And dealing with that extreme amount of uncertainty, because it's going to be an extreme amount of. I feel like every day you're going to ask yourself, like, damn, is this really worth it? I can't go back to the post office. You know what I mean?
Because it's a new you. It's a form of you that has not yet been molded.
And speaking to that point, I always think about like how I'm pretty sure all of us have said at some point, like, dang, man, back in the day it was so much better. Good old days, yada yada yada. But in reality, back in the day, it wasn't that much better. We just know now how it played out, so it seemed like it was better than what it really was. I mean,
you see yourself getting through those obstacles.
Exactly.
When the obstacles in front of you, you hated it.
Exactly. You made it through already.
Right. Like Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dots looking back, but you can't connect the dots looking forward. It's impossible.
Roller coaster ain't scared no more when you get off.
Right.
You see what I mean?
So,
you got to do that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm gonna tell you, along the process, you have your joys, you have your ups, you have your downs, you have your sadness, your misery, your grave, I guess you can say. You know what I mean? But I will say this though, like you said, the thing to look forward to is a new you. And a new you is always going to be a you didn't know you were. Mm-hmm. It's a certain level of power you didn't know you had, and you're growing into portions of you that's going to be, it's not going to look the same anymore. You're growing. Your body's going to be bigger. Your mindset, is going to be bigger. You know what I mean? So you are not going to look like you anymore. But once you start growing, we get attracted to it, which means we don't want to stop. So you're constantly evolving. You're constantly getting into new dimensions, new problems, fighting new devils, because new levels bring new devils. You know what I mean? And we distract ourselves with getting better. But you have to go through a process to get to that point. You know what I mean? And it is hard to get to. I cannot fault no man for not wanting to make the climb. That's like me saying that's, like I said,
stumbling during the,
exactly. I can't tell you how not to forgive my father now. Like, there's no way I can go through this level of life and not understand the pressure he was under and not understand the choices he made. Like, I get them now. You see what I mean? Like, I literally empathize with what he had to deal with. And that man ain't had the internet. YouTube University has gotten me through a lot of levels in life I didn't think I'd get through. You feel me? So, my father didn't have YouTube. You know what I mean? My father couldn't just go on the internet and find out who was hiring. Like, had to go from, he had to hike. Back when Northern Parkway ain't have Northern Parkway, that was all woods over there. He had to march around all of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a different day, a different age. And I guess me forgiving him was me understanding the level of life he was in. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, once you start thinking positive, things just start happening.
Yeah.
Things just start to come your way.
Yeah, things just start happening, man. They just
where you need to be. And like you said, it's not a thing of okay, you just saying, all right, I'm not gonna be negative today. You know that negativity is gonna come your way. You know what I mean, whether you want it to or not. But the second that you understand it, you catch it in your mind and say, all right, I'm not gonna allow that to continue to go in my mind. I'm killing that with positivity instantly. Things just start coming your way, man. You'll find money on the ground, like people come up to you. And,
just start happening.
It's like people that were never nice to you before. Like, it's positivity is loving.
The slow grind is like the best part of it because it's like when you get it too fast, that may scare you.
Yeah,
it's so foreign to you. Yep. You don't want it fast. You want to build that as slow. So that's why I always say, like, appreciate those little goals, those little gains, because that's what creates the thing you were headed for. And it's like I said, it's scary to get it too fast because it's like you don't recognize that person and you may end up going back to what you were doing before because you're like, I don't want to deal with this. But you build it slowly that you're becoming, like you said, you're becoming that new you and you're ready for it. So
I also think we should express the fact that like how you say, when being positive, you have to be genuine when you're doing it too. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to throw out fake positivity, you're doing nothing but hurting yourself. Because at the end of the day, the universe is going to reciprocate exactly what you give out to it. So if you give out, you try to be condescending or fake positive because you want something from somebody, you're going to get exploited as well. There's no way that you're going to give that out and think you're getting over on somebody. Everything is a boomerang. So whatever you speak out comes right back to you.
Yeah, and it has to, like you said, it has to come from a genuine place. It cannot come from, I'm going to do this because I'm going to get something coming back later. No, it has to just happen organically. You can't, just say, all right, I'm going to be positive just so I can, just so some positive things can happen. Yeah. And I'm just go back being negative later on. But I'm just be positive when I want to. No, all the time and believe it. Believe it in your heart.
Like, it was a post that said, stop holding the door open for people and get mad when they don't say thank you. And I was like, wow, that speaks volumes because if you want to
why you doing it
exactly. If you're gonna do something, be genuine about it or don't do it at all. And that's the truth, man.
Yeah, I think in order for us to understand this new concept of positive, you know what I mean? Karma, for example. If you know whatever's coming back to you is coming back to you if you do something negative, then why do you do something negative, right? But the thing is, most people don't know that it is coming back. Most people don't realize that some people say it comes back in a different way. The only reason why you say that is because when it comes back when you make a change. Because when you're making a change, you're killing the you used to be. So once you find out what you used to do, you really become guilty about some of the things you realize you did do. And when you become guilty, you start to develop some self-conscious thoughts. Is this going to happen to me?
Exactly.
You start putting it in the air.
Exactly.
You start putting the negativity in the atmosphere, and that is how it comes back to you.
Yep.
You feel me? Because if you allowed yourself to heal from what you did, forgive yourself for the guilt of what you realized you did do, that energy, it definitely gets settled there. Yep. It gets settled right there. But a lot of us, we take ourselves through the karma path. Yep. We start dealing with what we put out into the atmosphere because we start fearing what we are now have visual of. Like,
Yep.
dang, did I really do that?
Yep.
Damn, if I did that, then that means that's supposed to happen. That's the moment that it happened to you.
Yep. Mhm.
That's literally the moment that it happened to
I
you.
think I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and they were talking about how like gangsters like Al Capone and
Yeah.
they never saw themselves as
As
bad
guilty,
guys.
right?
So it's
Right.
like when you don't see yourself as a bad guy, it's not gonna come back to you.
Right.
When you start, like you said, when you see that and you realize that that was negative and
Yeah.
you were wrong, that guilt catches
Yeah.
up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they tell you all the time, you know, I think Christians like to say, don't worry about it, he's going to get it back. See, the thing is, once you start to kill yourself, when you're making your change, when you're in your process, don't it hurt?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can expect a man, once he really does find out what, like, the how sunk he is,
Yep.
and then you looking up like, God, damn, I gotta go all the way up there.
Yep.
And then once you start to climb, you start to get mad at yourself. Like, I know I ain't do this. And then, like, God, what I do to deserve this? You feel me? Like, yo, like you, yeah, like, yo, come on, son. Like, what's really going on? You feel me? Are you sure I did this type of a thing? But you know, like I said, once you start to get somewhere though, once you begin your climb, and even if you're not on the floor no more, you just can't go back to where you was. So you keep climbing. And then the higher that you get, you find yourself not on the floor much more. Like you like, okay, the distance is growing. You know, I was right here. Well, first I was here. Then I was here. Now I'm here. And then you get here. You're like, I'm not going back, son. You see what I mean? So it's like you normally, once you start to get into a phase in your life where you start to recognize and implement some of the positive ways to act and think, you start to reciprocate that energy to yourself, and you don't get sick of it. You find gratification in when you finally do accomplish something you've been trying to resist. When you win one of those mental battles, and then that one mental battle turns into like 3 to 4 mental battles, and before you know it, all of the mental battles are being won.
Exactly.
It starts with that stuff.
Exactly. You see what I mean? So, yo, and I like again, I know this was supposed to be about passive income. And I do want to apologize because I kind of made this little crazy shift, but our conversation was just going in a certain way organically. I didn't want to stop it, but I do feel like if we can think positive, our investments will be in a positive. Will come back to us positive. If we're not thinking in terms of self, if we're not thinking in terms of money, and we're not thinking in terms of profit, but in turn, we're thinking about how we can solve a problem. How can we be of service? How can we offer something to this atmosphere, to, you know, the universe that we're in? How can we do good work? The money will find you. And if you have made the change, the money won't control you, which is going to allow you to disperse it in areas that's going to make you stronger and strengthen you financially. And at that point, it will be purchasing peace for you, but it'll be working for you while you're doing your creativity, still giving out, still solving problems, and still giving positivity into your atmosphere. And at that point, the positive that's coming back at you is the money that's working in the background. And you will have finally oiled a whole machine, and you will not even know it. And it just be you getting through a transition.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That made complete sense, man.
So, yo, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
Check us out on YouTube to get the full, video with everybody in it.
Yeah, man.
True Kings 4-0 on YouTube.
Yeah,
like,
man.
subscribe us.
We apologize about Facebook, man. We getting ready to fix that up, and eventually, we're gonna be shooting this thing because right now we're just shooting on Instagram Live and on YouTube. But eventually we want to make this thing bigger, so we're gonna be, we're gonna get the Facebook thing. But I think it's like a different Facebook that we got. We'll talk about that off camera. But I appreciate y'all stopping through with us, man, and share love.
Yeah.